Coming up on Main Street, we'll take you up the river, over the hills, and through the countryside in a show filled with fun, food, and excitement. Join us for Main Street in Motion.
Funding for Main Street was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you who support quality programs such as Main Street that appear only on public television.
Hello and welcome to Main Street. I'm Barbara Deeb. On this edition of the program, we're going to take you throughout the Commonwealth by water, air, and rail. We're here at the historic Railpark and Train Museum in Bowling Green as we begin our journey throughout the state. Our trip aboard the Kentucky Dinner Train in Bardstown, Kentucky gave us a chance to sample fine cuisine while enjoying the ambience of the 1940s on the vintage train and dining cars. Chef Gil Logan and engineer Gary Spalding gave us a glimpse of what it takes to create this trip through time on the rails. Balloonist Scott McClinton says he has the best office in the world as he pilots his hot air balloon all over the world. The excitement, beauty, and danger of the balloons make for a challenging and dynamic career for this Kentuckian. The steamboat, the Belle of Louisville, is celebrating 100 years of plying the waterways of the U.S. Her unlikely journey to this centennial is due in large part to the people who are her crew. Captain Mike Fitzgerald and Chief Engineer Jim McCoy face special challenges in a craft this old, but they take great pleasure in working on the Belle and telling her story with pride and joy. All aboard! We're on the move on this edition of Main Street.
Close that cabinet for me. We ready to rock and roll, guys? Oh, we're definitely a trip back in time. Yes, we are. I mean, you'll see the engineer wears a tuxedo because that's what the engineer would have done in the 1940s. The conductor wears a tuxedo because that's how you'd have been greeted. The servers are all in tuxedo because that's how it would have been. You know, the level of quality that we're giving right now is exactly what it would have been in the 1940s. So this is a trip back in time when we were doing food better. We were doing service better. We were doing everything better in the 1940s. Except for the Rice Krispie trees.
We're looking at the dinner train here with 2 locomotives, 3 passenger cars. The locomotives are FB7As. That were built by EMD, a division of General Motors at the time. And the 3 passenger cars are Bud diners, built by the Bud Company, early 40s. So that's, we're actually recreating 1940 experience with the actual locomotives and dining cars. When they first see the train, they're in awe by the size. Most people don't get that close to a train until they're able to pull up and touch it, if you will. The passenger train gives that experience, being able to get close to the train, get on the train, and experience the travel as it used to be years ago. But train travel was their first love, and we kind of bring that back with this dinner train.
All right, you get on the train and the first thing you're going to notice is, wow, I didn't think that this would be this pretty. It's all really done well, woodwork and the elegance of the china and the curtains, the carpet, the look of our employees, they're immaculate, they're beautiful. You come in, it's just a very pleasant entry point when you walk onto the train. And it's a little more romantic, it's a little more fun. It's how you'd have done it in the 1940s. We leave on our train and we stroll through 5 or 6 of the most beautiful distilleries that you'll ever see. And we go by the rick houses and we go through Bernheim Forest and the leaves are changing and the cows and the horses are frolicking. It's a little bit of heaven. We're at restaurant. We roll, and we're cool, but we're a restaurant. And, food is mandatory. I'm not fat by accident. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'm a food dude. It's in my nature. It's literally what I do. And I'm very good at it. Very good at it. I mean, we have our cold station where the salads and the appetizers are made. We've got a hot saute station. That's usually where I work, doing the scallops fresh, sauteing your vegetables fresh, doing your pastas and everything fresh. We've got a station where we always, prime rib is one of our huge things. We carve prime every night, and we've been doing it for 25 years. We do it really well, but it's cooking that prime rib low and slow, and then getting it out and carving it all and keeping everything level while you're rolling down the track. Takes some getting used to. You gotta know how to react to that movement. I buy tall stock pots that we fill halfway. Why you do that? Because if not, it would slosh all over. It would end up all over the floor, and the oil would go in there and burn, and it'd be really bad. So you gotta know what you're doing. I mean, as soon as you sit down, I want to start you with some of the best things I found in Kentucky. You take that country ham, some of that cheese, a little bit of, whether you're gonna enjoy some of our local bourbon or some of our, imported or regular wines, it just really sets your mood off right. Your mouth is happy, you're ready for your entree now, your salad, whatever it is coming next, your mouth is ready. Here, it's real easy. We get fresh fruit, you take it to our train that has a kitchen on it, prepare fresh, and we serve it to you fresh. It's not rocket science here, people. It's buy really, really good food, dance with it a little bit, put a little bit of makeup on that, make it really, really good, and send it on. That's how you do it. A lot of people, when they come on the train, one of their big throwbacks is that if you just come as a couple, you could very easily share a table with another couple, because we sit 4 tops. So if you have 2, unless you're gonna pay for a private table, you're gonna be sat with another couple. And at first, people are like, oh, I don't really like that. Well, the people I go talk to on the train, they're lifelong friends. They meet back here at the same week every year. They send each other Christmas cards. They become friends on this train. I get to talk to every table that comes on my train. That's huge. I've never been able to, in one of my previous worlds, been able to do that. It's just too massive, too big. But now, every person that walks on the train, I talk to them firsthand, find out what they liked, what they didn't like, so I can make it better for the next time. Without a doubt, it's the best date in Kentucky. Most men don't know what romance is. They think they know, and their wife says, let's do something romantic. And they go and they talk to their buddies and like, what is romantic? And none of them have a clue. This train is romantic. It rocks you slowly as you drive through. We've got a phenomenal wine list, cocktails and all the bourbons you could possibly want. So, not that alcohol is necessary, but I know it definitely helps. And, relaxing and taking it easy. And then next thing you know, you're actually having a conversation with your loved one and you're someone special. There's no TV in the way. There's no phones in the way. It's just like you were doing it back in the 1940s, and that's what we're after. And I can promise you this, the night you ride will be the best night's sleep you've had in a very long time. Because it does rock you slowly as you're riding, and then you're full, and your belly's happy, and your wife's happy, and you're content, and your life is good. And you go home and you sleep like a king.
Air balloon November 176 Lima Bravo, approaching Bowling Green traffic from the east, northeast. When I was a kid, my dad's company owned a hot air balloon, and yeah, I always had that desire to fly, and I became enthralled with it. So when I was a teenager, I started crewing for hot air balloons, and finally I came home one day and I told my wife, I said, you know, I'm going to start a balloon company, and knock on wood, that was in 1996, and today we're one of the largest balloon operation companies in the country. If you ask my parents why I do this, they say, because I didn't really want to work for a living. You saw the view from my office this morning. And that's what we get to do year-round, all the way across the country. It's less than 0.1% of the population actually get an up-close and experience in a balloon. So it's a pretty rare moment that the average person gets to fly in a balloon. I'm fortunate enough to get to do it 100+ times a year. And it's a phenomenal job, and I work for a phenomenal company. I'm with SkyCab Balloon Promotions out of Louisville, and we're a full-service hot air balloon company. It's so hard to describe, but I get to cross the country and meet the most interesting people, just the most everyday interesting people that come out, and I get to share what I do with them. By far the best is to get the kids and to put the kids in and take them up for a short tether ride, because kids, their reactions are, if you had 100 kids in here, there'd be 200 different reactions, you know, from loving it to hating it. And I tell the kids in school, when we go out to the elementary schools, they all get excited about it, and they're very disappointed in the end, because when I tell them it's just a big science experiment, and then they realize they got to learn something. We start with an inflator fan, and we essentially blow just ambient air into it from the outside, and we'll get it about 60% cold air inflated. And then as it's laying over on the side, I just delicately throw a little bit of heat in, and as I throw that heat in, it heats the air molecules up inside the balloon, and it gets bigger. And as it gets bigger, it gets wider, and then eventually it'll start to stand up. As it stands up, then I can put a ton of heat into it and expand it out to its full size. It generally is about a 15-20 minute process. And then you get into your big science experiment. We heat the air up inside the balloon, and when it gets to a buoyant factor, we start putting a weight in to make your buoyancy reach the level that you can take off. And then once we lift off, we're using air currents. It's kind of like sky sailing, for lack of better terms. You're using the wind currents up at altitudes, typically for our standard flight between the ground and 2,500 feet. Love the morning flights. Absolutely fantastic part of the day. I mean, it's just, it's beautiful. As you get to see the sun come up and the dew on the grass and the little bit of mist in the air, it's probably the best combination of a job and your best hobby you could ever have. And it's just fantastic. And I've gotten to travel. I've gotten to fly in 36 states and 5 countries. 2 years ago, we got to cross the Great Wall of China. In Mongolia, China. We flew across the Great Wall. It was in the Guiyang province, which is just an underdeveloped part of China. There's no big factories. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's probably one of the most original places on the Great Wall. And there was just thousands of Chinese people that had not only never seen Americans, they'd never seen hot air balloons, and it was just that, to me, was, you know, the most enlightening experience. It's opened up doors that I never probably could have done in regular business, and I get to do it flying balloons. I mean, what better way to see the world? So I've had the ability to be able to do different types of aircraft, but I always come back to the hot air balloon. I always come back to the hot air balloon because it's the most up close and personal that I get with people. But ballooning, for me, the reward of ballooning is to be on the ground and sharing it with the people.
The Belle is essential for our country because she's the last of her kind. There are no other steam-powered river vessels built during the steamboat era that are functioning in our country today.
It's the only one still running that's built in 1914. She is steam operated. There's no propellers, there's no bow thrusters, and we solely use the paddle wheel, and you won't find that anywhere else in America at this age.
The Belle's place in history, it started out when it first came out from Reese and Sons in Pittsburgh as a ferry boat in West Memphis, Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee. There was no bridge across the Mississippi River at the time. The waterways were a big part of the highway system to move freight, commodities, and people, and this represents that part of our history and our culture.
If it wasn't for boats like the steamer Belle of Louisville, cities like Louisville, Kentucky, and Portland wouldn't exist. Cincinnati, Ohio wouldn't exist without packet boats. And that's what the Belle started out as the Ottawa in 1914. She carried goods across the river and then evolved into what she is today. She inspires, I believe, but she is an educational tool for kids, and then also an excursion vessel for adults that want to get out, have a good time, eat dinner, take a nice scenic ride on a historic vessel.
So now we have one. The Belle is authentically a steam-powered vessel that has never changed since her building. She's authentically paddle wheel driven. That has never changed since her building. And she has original equipment. She has original features on our vessel that were just familiar in her day, but very unfamiliar today. If people are going to experience a true steamboat that is an example of the steamboats of the middle 1800s, it's going to be this vessel. This boat is American history. The best part about being on this boat is being on this boat. You can explore. You can check out our engine room. You can go to the firebox and talk to the firemen. You can see it working, moving parts, steam, sounds. You can smell this boat working. When you're on board, you can really get a sense of stepping back into the 19th century when these boats were doing that work every single day. There's something about being a part of a paddle wheel driven 19th century technology riverboat. I plan to work a month. I've worked, as of today, 42 years for this vessel. There's something almost undefinable and very hard to describe about the magnetism this boat has for people who are open to that.
This is the kind of job that you just enjoy. Enjoy the passengers coming on board and the boat and the boat itself and everything that it meant. Once I started working on the river, to be around the river, the peacefulness in the mornings, the beautiful sunsets in the evenings, that part of it and being around the water is very enjoyable. Being on an excursion boat such as the Belle of Louisville means a lot. The boat itself and what it means to the fabric of this community, it's just a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And I've enjoyed every minute of it.
The Belle's still here because of the employees. If it wasn't for the employees and the passion that they put in it, I truly don't believe the boat would still be here. It takes us coming in day after day, putting blood, sweat, and tears, literally, into keeping her operating. We do all the maintenance, and if that means tearing up a roof or tearing up a deck, we do it. The more modern boats like the American Queen, they have props and bow thrusters, state of the art, you know, and you come up here and look at our 7-foot wheel, our steering sticks, which is steam assisted steering, and our telegraph, that's what we use. We do have bits and pieces of modern technology that go along with it, but this is original. This is original. The American Queen is all drive-by-wire or fly-by-wire. We're drive-by cable and hope it holds type of phenomena. But it's cool. It's kind of like not many people have friends with classic cars, but we have one every day, and we get to come on to that classic steamboat and operate it. And we don't change it. We just make it work and work as a team.
I wish people could feel as passionate about some of the things that what this boat means that a lot of us do. It's vital to perpetuate this, because so many times we're quick to knock down a historical building, or we'll let something become obsolete, and then if it's obsolete long enough, then the next thing you know, it's not there. We got to remember this stuff. Remember, you have to know where you came from, and if you don't know where you are now.
Well, we've come to the end of our journey, but we hope you've enjoyed our excursions throughout the state with stories about the Kentucky Dinner Train, which not only delivers a wonderful meal, but an elegant trip through time on the 1940s vintage train in Bardstown, Kentucky. Our adventure with balloonist Scott McClinton gave us a bird's eye view into the life of a hot air balloon pilot and the beauty he sees every day. Our voyage on the iconic Belle of Louisville taught us a little bit about her history, the river, and the people who take great pride in being her crew. We'd like to thank our friends here at the historic Railpark and Train Museum in Bowling Green for hosting this edition of the show. And remember, our producers would love to hear from you. We welcome any questions, comments, or story ideas. Check out our webpage at the address on your screen. I'm Barbara Deeb, and remember, until next time, we're just around the corner on Main Street.